Okay, lesson 3 within our HTML unit. This is where we actually get to start doing some of the coding using the hypertext markup language. Bubble 1 here talks about the vocabulary. Important to know as you're going through things, what is HTML? Actually stands for hypertext markup language. The elements are the different parts of a website or a piece of a website, and those are indicated usually with starting tags and closing tags. All right, and that's called an HTML tag, and they're kind of special little characters, usually within the carets or the greater than, less than symbols. And there's a bunch of different tags that we will learn throughout this unit. The content is actually what you're going to be putting in your web page, whether it's text or video or graphics. And then obviously the structure, and that's what we're going to be working through this. So down here, whenever you're going through this unit, it's going to talk and give you new pieces of code. Now, if you click on these, it will actually lead you to sort of a further explanation of that tag. So something called syntax, which is really how you use it. This one happens to be the paragraph tag, and it's showing you the opening tag and the closing tag. And then if you go down here and click on something called w3schools.com, it is actually a great resource for any kind of HTML coding and figuring out what all these tags do. So as soon as you want to do something much more advanced, this W3 Schools is a great tool for you to be able to go to. So now I'm going to go ahead and go back here. And all I've done is when I read through these, I'm going to click on continue. Second bubble here just kind of gives you some areas here. A little tip I can give you is that a lot of times you'll need to scroll down on this window to see all of your information. So it wants you to try something by clicking in what's called the workspace, and then clicking over here on the right that says refresh and save, and that's how you can see the results of it. So over here you have like your files. Here you have what's in that file or inside of that HTML. And then over here is the resulting web page. So it's kind of a cool way to be able to see three things at once. Click finish on that, and you'll move on to the next thing where you'll watch this video. I highly recommend watching these videos. They are the essence of all of the instructions for these. And then you'll move on to bubble number 4. Again, the directions are up here at the top. It tells you what to do. And then if you scroll down, a lot of people, again, forget to scroll down. It'll actually show you how to do this. All right. Now, if you get stuck, a lot of times over here on the right side, it actually says, how do I use the inspector tool? It's giving you the sort of the tips or the tricks or sometimes the entire instructions. Click on that, and it'll give you a little more detail on how to use something called the inspector tool. All right. So this happens to be the inspector tool is turned off. And when I turn this on and I go over here and click on things, it will show me where in the code. Okay, so let's say I click on this title, Welcome to Web Lab. It's showing me where in the code over here on the left side is creating that. And that's a good way to learn, hey, I want to be able to make a title this size. What am I doing? It's showing me right there. Oh, I put these little tags around it called H1s, technically called header ones. And then now I know how to do it. So even with a very basic level of knowledge of HTML, you can look at one of these web pages using the inspector tool and see how that works. All right. And then it's going to have you move through these, watch something that talks about HTML and what the different parts of the tags are and what is something called a paragraph tag. Definitely recommend taking a look at that video. Next one here is giving you the syntax for a paragraph tag. It's showing you how this should work, right? And it has an opening tag. Think of these like almost like the little program, like the little mini program. What am I supposed to do with this if the computer sees a web page? And now it knows, okay, this is a paragraph. And then you type in the content, what it is you want to have appear, and then you close out or basically finish off your web page element here. Otherwise, it keeps looking. It doesn't know where the end of the paragraph is, right? And it explains it down here a little bit more. And then it gives you some other what's called default tags. And now this starter code, this default tag, is included in all of your web pages that you will build on this platform. But if you were custom coding this on a different platform or on a text editor, you would actually type these in. And it explains to you what each of these mean and do. The HTML is at the very beginning, is telling the computer what this is, saying, hey, this is where HTML starts. You have something called a header, and you'll put various different things in there. One of them is called metadata. And then for the purposes of this, we are mostly going to use what's called the body. And notice we have the body starting here, and we have the body ending here with the closing tag. And then the very last thing you're going to do on a web page is end it and say, hey, here's the end of the HTML. So you close it with the /HTML. And it does say it gives you all of this. So you really need to know where within this are you supposed to type all of your different things. All right. And that hopefully as you move along here, it'll give you a little bit of an overview. It's telling you right here, similar to some of the other code activities, there's a little link here, and it means that whatever it is you're doing on here is going to show up further along. So don't go back and delete things, for example, here on bubble number 7, when you get yourself up to bubble 9, because they're all linked together and they are like just a continuation of the same code here, right? And I want you to go in here and type in 3 separate sentences about any topic, and you can pick the topic that you've chosen in your layout. It can be any topic really here while we're working on learning these codes. But I'm going to go down here to the body, and I'm going to just type in 3 sentences, all right? And I have 3 sentences. I'm going to make mine about hiking. As I type those in, you can see it over here in the preview area. If you're not seeing that, you're going to click refresh and save. All right. And of course, if you have a neighbor to take a look at, you can compare it with, or I'm your neighbor right now. You can take a look at my code, and I put it underneath the body starting tag and above the closing tag. That's what's called putting it inside the body tag, right? With those things on the top and under it, or at the beginning or the end. Once I have this and it shows my result here, great, I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and click finish. And now it's going to have you use those paragraph tags to fix this. All right. And it tells you right here, you're going to go in, and if you scroll down, it tells you exactly what to do. Where it says do this, you're going to put a paragraph tag at the beginning of your first sentence. I'm going to put a paragraph tag right there. And then you're going to close out the paragraph tag at the end of that sentence. And you can see live over here on the right side what it is that it's doing. As I put in these tags, it will indicate to the computer that these are separate paragraphs and they should be treated differently. There we go. We got all of them in. Starting paragraph tag and a closing, or an opening and closing paragraph tag at each end of each of these sentences. And you can see the effect of it over here on the right side, giving it kind of a double enter. And then when you're ready, go ahead and click finish. Notice you'll have a little check mark up here at the top. And a lot of people ask, why is that purple? And that's because that's essentially sort of one of the assignments that I'm going to go and check to see, hey, are you understanding this? Here's another one where it wants you to go in, and now that you know how those paragraph tags work, and I'm not going to show you this one, it wants you to look at the code over here. This is supposed to be 3 separate sentences. Right now it looks like it's 2. Where could you add an additional opening and closing paragraph tag in here to make this look like we did back on 8? Once you have that finished, go ahead and finish, and then you are done with lesson 3.